We've all seen this idealized vision of teamwork. It's the visual shorthand for collaboration. A group of people, hands in the middle, perfectly aligned and ready to tackle a problem together. As educators, this is the environment we want to create in our classrooms. But when we actually assign group work, the reality looks different. We put 3 or 4 students at a table, hand them a project, and watch as they immediately chop the assignment into pieces. One student writes, one does the research, and another just sits quietly, waiting for instructions. They are completing the task, but they aren't working together. They are engaged in parallel work. They've divided the labor to get the job done quickly, skipping the shared cognitive effort that actual teamwork requires. As this literature review outlines, genuine collaboration requires distinct social and cognitive processes. To move past basic cooperation, students must work interdependently, participate in genuine joint activity, and actively pool their knowledge and skills. It requires a shared conception of the problem. To bridge the gap between students sitting at the same table and students actually thinking together, we have to change the structure of the assignment itself. We can upgrade an existing lesson plan into an engine for true collaboration using 5 specific design moves. Because collaboration is not a natural instinct that students automatically bring to school. It is a complex interpersonal competency that we have to explicitly design for and actively teach. Move 1 is auditing your assignment using what we call the single student test. Look at your project prompt and ask, could one highly motivated student complete this entire task on their own? If the answer is yes, then the task isn't truly collaborative. A single, capable student will inevitably take over, creating an environment where others can coast as observers. To pass the single student test, the task must be upgraded. It needs to be sufficiently complex, open-ended, and lack a single correct answer. When a problem is ill-structured, no single student holds all the answers, requiring the group to synthesize multiple perspectives to move forward. Once the task is complex enough, we apply Move 2, building positive interdependence into the project structure. This means designing sink or swim together mechanics. You can implement shared success criteria or create phased checkpoints where group progress depends on every student contributing their specific piece of evidence to the group's pool of knowledge. Without this structural interdependence, students will always take the path of least resistance and revert to working individually on parallel tracks. Now that the assignment requires joint effort, we have to address how students communicate. Move 3 is explicitly teaching the language of collaboration, because students don't automatically know how to think together out loud. Conversations fall into distinct patterns. First, disputational talk, defensive assertions where ideas collide and stop. Second, cumulative talk. Students simply agree and add on, failing to critically evaluate ideas. The target state is exploratory talk. Here, students justify claims and construct a shared understanding. To trigger this specific type of exploratory conversation, you have to give students the exact sentence stems they need. Phrases like, "Can you explain your thinking?" "I see it differently because," and "What evidence supports that?" Give them a practical tool to engage with each other's reasoning. Providing these specific conversational frameworks keeps group discussions on track, preventing them from devolving into superficial agreement or unproductive conflict. Move 4 addresses how students distribute the work. It requires eradicating superficial group roles. Traditional roles like timekeeper or materials manager are focused entirely on classroom logistics. They give students a title, but they actively prevent them from engaging in the core cognitive work of the assignment. Instead, we need to assign cognitive roles. These are jobs based entirely on thinking and monitoring the quality of the group's interactions. Consider assigning a role like the challenger. The challenger's specific job is to politely question assumptions and ask for alternative hypotheses. This role intentionally disrupts their comfortable agreement, forcing the entire group to actively defend and strengthen their shared understanding. Whatever roles you assign, they must support the intellectual heavy lifting of the task. Give every student a required cognitive function that keeps them engaged with the core material. Finally, Move 5 changes how you evaluate the project. You must shift your physical and evaluative role in the classroom. During a collaborative project, your job transitions from managing behavior to actively monitoring the collaborative state. You are stepping back, observing the group dynamics, and listening closely to the quality of their peer-to-peer talk. To do this effectively, you have to decouple the grade of the final product from your assessment of the collaborative process. You can measure this process using specific tools, like implementing regular peer feedback loops, or conducting mid-project group check-ins, or having students maintain individual process journals that track how their thinking evolved based on their group's input. If you only grade the final poster, students will only value the final poster. Assessing the collaborative journey proves to them that the process itself is just as vital as the outcome. When you put these pieces together, you have an upgraded lesson plan, a demanding task, positive interdependence, exploratory talk frameworks, cognitive roles, and process-based assessment. The result is a classroom environment where students are actively debating concepts, pointing at shared evidence on a desk, and negotiating their way to a unified solution. Collaboration is not what happens when students simply sit together in a room. True collaboration only happens when students are forced to think together. By stepping into the role of an architect, you can purposefully design the exact conditions where that genuine collaboration becomes visible, teachable, and ready to be assessed.